Estarán todos flipando cada vez que yo voy a hablar con ellos, ¿sabes?
Any truth to the
Es que me
accusation
da miedo,
against you?
tiene una pipa.
Owen did his
Y
research
ha matado
well.
más de 20
The
personas.
accusation is absolutely true. I don't see that you've earned the right to any details, though.
Will you tell me how it happened?
Oh, it was written up in the papers at the time. A story of self-preservation, pure and simple. A hunting party lost in the bush. The great white hunter checks the food supplies, assesses his chances, and clears out on his own.
Leaving 21 men to die.
Not very Puka Sahib, I'm afraid.
What brought you here to Shipwreck Island?
Owen's attorney, a man named Archibald Morris, rang up one day. Wanted to give me 100 guineas to join this house party. I was to put myself at Owen's disposal in case my rather specialized talents were required.
What specialized talents would those be?
You might say I'm a good man in a scrap.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Lombard.
Ah, por favor, las 3 personas que me quedan, ¿puede por favor no hablarme tantas cosas? Se está haciendo muy largo esta parte.
Any truth to the accusation against you?
Fellow got hold of a detestable rumor, nothing more. Arthur Richmond was one of my officers. I sent him on a reconnaissance, he was killed. Natural course of events in wartime.
Thank you, General. Stay well.
Hombre, muchas gracias. Que todos son iguales que tú.
Any truth to the accusation against you?
About that child, Cyril Hamilton. I was nursery governess to him.
Will you tell me how it happened?
I'd like to tell you. Cyril was forbidden to swim out far. One day, my attention was distracted. I couldn't get there in time. It was awful. But it wasn't my fault. At the inquest, the coroner exonerated me. Oh, and his mother. She was so kind. If she didn't blame me, why should this awful thing be said?
Are you sure you're telling me everything?
I'm telling you all I'm going to, Mr. Narracott.
What brought you here to Shipwreck Island?
I was engaged through the Skilled Women's Agency to be Mrs. Owen's personal secretary for the remainder of the summer. Then I hope to return to teaching.
Much obliged for your assistance, Miss Claythorne.
Y el último.
Any truth to the accusation against you?
I remember Seaton perfectly well. Playwright, not a very good one. Charged with the murder of a chorus girl. He was very ably defended and made a good impression on the jury. Nevertheless, it was clear to me he'd done it.
Thank you kindly, Judge.
Vale, ahora tengo que ir a gramófono. ¿Dónde está? La bebida en la copia. ¿No qué sería? Yo salí, por favor. La bebida que creo... La cogí ya toda.
I shouldn't do that. I need to have my wits about me. I shouldn't do that. I need to have my wits about me. I don't need it. And I'm no pack rat.
¿Es esto? Esto no es. Además, esto no iba.
It's got power, but it still doesn't seem to be working.
¿Y dónde está el grabamófono? ¿Dónde está? Aquí no puede estar. Oye, ¿dónde está? Por ahí no puedo ir. Tiene que ser por aquí. Ajá. No lo quiero eso.
I copied the contents into my notebook.
10 marineritos, si llueve que te llueve, uno se asfixió y quedaron 9. 9 marineritos trasnocharon mucho, uno no despertó y quedaron 8. 8 marineritos en Devon para un guateque en Devon. No sé qué decir. Uno decidió pararse y quedaron 7. 7 marineritos cortaban la leña, como veréis. Uno se cortó en 2 y quedaron 7. 6 marineritos y la colmena da un brinco. A uno le picó una abeja y quedaron 5. 5 marineritos estudiaban en un claustro. Uno entró en casillería y quedaron 4. 4 marineritos en el mar de un arenque zampó uno y quedaron 3. 3 marineritos en el zoo y le dio la tos. Un granoso se abrazó a uno y quedaron 2. Los marineritos se alzó del desayuno. Uno se chamuscó y quedó solo uno. Un marinerito se quedó solo fue y se colgó. Vale. ¿Y dónde vergas está el gramófono? Yo no lo veo. Por aquí no podéis. Pues nada, a buscar el gramófono porque aquí no está. ¿Qué pinta eso aquí?
Locked.
Ya lo encontraré en algún momento, digo yo. De verdad, no tengo ni idea de dónde está. Tendría que estar en el salón, ¿no? Está la cocina. Amigo. A ver. ¿Qué he cogido? Algo he cogido. Tuve el aspirador grande, identificado como buques y tuve el aspirador pequeño, identificado como
Interesting history Shipwreck Island has. I'd studied up on it before I came down.
What are the names of those 2 people I'm accused of killing?
John and Lucy Combs. I made a note of it.
Must have been a couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge.
Ah, y le da igual.
For them or for you?
Well, I was thinking for me, but of course you're right, sir. It was damned bad luck on them. Of course, it was a pure accident. They rushed out of some college or other.
Le
Decent
suda la
useless.
muerte.
English roads are hopeless, of course. Can't get up a decent pace on them. Well, anyway, it wasn't my fault.
No, para nada. ¿Qué le pasó? Envenenado.
This man is
Valió
dead.
verga.
Do you think it was suicide?
You conduct yourself well, Mr. Narracott, if you don't mind my saying so. Mr. Blore has told us that you are not what you appear, yet you told him you were not a detective.
No, sir. But I've read many detective novels. I even had one of those junior detective kits when I was a boy. Magnifying glass,
O sea
fingerprint
que igual yo no
powder.
tuve de eso.
Junior detective kit. Wonderful.
Ah, an amateur sleuth then. You appear to have something of a gift for it.
About the suicide, Judge.
I'm not yet prepared to offer an opinion.
Did you know Marston before he arrived here today?
I knew his father, the Duke, and his elder brother. Like so many younger sons of his class, Anthony Marsden was a bit of a wastrel, as you will have gathered. There were other rumors of late, of his dabbling in politics, but this is not the proper forum for that discussion.
What do you think that record means?
May I answer that in a moment after asking a question of my own?
Of
Depende.
course.
Does anyone know Mr. Owen's full name?
My letter was signed only U.N. Owen.
Yes, U.N. Owen. Or, by a slight stretch of fancy, unknown. I'll now answer your question, Mr. Narracott. The name, the recording, the circumstances under which all but you were lured to this island.
¿Se piensa que soy
I
yo?
have no doubt in my mind that we have been invited here by a madman.
Se están
Very
pensando que soy yo,
possibly
¿no?
a dangerous, homicidal lunatic.
Ah,
Why did you retire, Judge?
I know there was talk about my competence, even my ego running wild, but the truth of it is very simple. My health. A lifetime sentencing my fellow man, and now a higher power has passed judgment on me.
I appreciate your candor, Judge.
no voy a hablar con el médico, voy a... Y dirás, ¿por qué guardas tanto? No, en fin. De que de repente estoy hablando con alguien y me hace una escena, ¿sabes? Y ya pierdo todo.
Do you think Marston
Así que
committed
hablo con
suicide?
todos primero.
Yes. In my experience, certain types of individuals, when faced with their sin,
Pues yo creo que es un
will then
buen
commit the
modo,
greater one.
Did you know Marston before
que-
he
lo que no
arrived
entiendo
here
tampoco,
today?
porque me están cambiando
No.
tantas veces.
What do you think that record means?
There is something very peculiar about it.
I won't take up any more of your time, Miss Brent.
Y no me ha dicho nada. Hola, señor.
Do you think Marston committed suicide?
I shouldn't have said Mr. Marston was a suicidal type of gentleman at all.
Did you know Marston before he arrived here today?
Never clapped eyes on him. And who gave you the authority to question us?
Yo.
You're under no obligation to answer me. What
Es
do
que
you
estoy
think that
haciendo tu
record
trabajo.
means?
I don't like it. Not one bit. Very queer, the whole situation.
That'll do, Mr. Bloor.
La verdad que sí que parece detective. ¿Dónde están los demás? Contigo ahora voy. Hasta aquí.
Do you think Marston committed suicide?
You'd never think he would kill himself. He was so alive. When he came down that hill in his car, he looked... Oh, I can't explain.
Did you know Marston before he arrived here today?
No, I'm sure I would have remembered.
Steady, Miss Claythorne. The lad had his faults, you know.
What do you think that record means?
It was unfair, what it said. Very unfair.
You seem to be a remarkably perceptive girl, Miss Claythorne.
Why, thank you, Mr. Narracott.
Is there anything you can tell me about our fellow castaways?
Castaways? You make it sound so...
Romantic?
I was going to say dramatic. Let me see. No one has confided any secrets to me, I'm afraid. Oh, except one.
That is...
I really don't know you well enough to answer you.
Much obliged for your assistance, Miss Claythorne. Do you think Marston committed suicide?
He didn't seem particularly remorseful. Of course, the record might have set him off somehow. A new incident long after the fact may create a strong feeling of guilt or fear. Wouldn't you say, Doctor?
Possible. Quite possible.
Did you know Marston before he arrived here today?
Heard of him, but we'd never crossed paths, or swords.
What do you think that record means?
There is something wrong with this entire weekend, and especially with our host, Mr. Owen.
I believe we're all coming around to that conclusion.
Yes, but I know something you don't, Judge.
What is that?
Me encanta estar hablando mirando la
I
pared.
recognize the voice on that recording, and it was definitely not Mr. Owen.
Who was it?
Not so fast, Narracott. Not until I think things through
Me
a
van a
bit more.
acusar.
That'll be
a mí.
all, Mr. Lombard.
Voy a guardar. Es que veo hacer tan lejos, digo, a lo mejor si empiezo la cena me lo quitan todo.
Do you think it was suicide?
How dare you! My wife died of natural causes, sir. A long illness, nothing more.
Este
I
señor
meant
está brutal,
Marston.
Marston? No honor in him that I could see.
Did you know Marston before he arrived here today?
No, I don't think so. Not a military man, I'd wager. Lombard now. He reminds me of someone from my command. But the name wasn't Lombard.
What do you think that record means?
Ugly. After 30 years. Ugly thing to say.
I am indebted to you for your help, General Mackenzie.
Voy a mirar si... ¿Puedo hablar con la señora que está muerta? ¿O en coma? No sé. ¡Hostia! Señora. Bueno, se ha fugado. Oh, eso que es un bus que no han puesto. ¿Dónde voy yo otra vez para allá? Por aquí. La verdad es que he dado la vuelta más tonta de toda mi vida. Y ya hablamos con el médico. Que por esto no hemos revisado el disco. Lleva escrito oro por esta cara.
Let me examine this further.
Hola. Adiós. Otra cara, ¿no?
I wonder what's recorded on this side.
Ahí tiene que haber otra cosa. Pero primero vamos a hablar con el doctor. Que yo lo pase porque corre más rápido, ¿vale? No puedo ver cosa.
Did Marston choke to death?
You can call it choking if you like. He died of asphyxiation right enough.
Was Marston poisoned?
Can't say exactly. Everything points to one of the
Cianuro, son
cyanides.
eso
The
veneno.
distinctive smell of prussic acid. Probably potassium cyanide. It acts pretty well
Yo he visto
instantaneously.
mentes criminales, 500.000 veces, y CSI también.
Was there something in the whiskey?
Yes, without a doubt.
Do you think it was suicide?
Seems like it.
Could he have been murdered?
Not my line of country. I'm a doctor, not a detective.
Vaya caca, el médico.
Did you know Marston before he arrived here
Oh,
today?
me.
Not I. Personally or professionally.
What do you think that record means?
A disgraceful and heartless practical joke, I suppose.
If you'll excuse me, Doctor.
Where have you been, Rogers?
I went to check on my wife, sir. She is
Bueno.
resting comfortably. But I'm afraid I have some distressing news.
Oh?
One of the china figures of a sailor boy has been broken off.